Hi students, how are you all? Are you completing your notes? Okay. Today we are going to study history part lesson 7 new ideas of social being. In the previous chapters you learned how the Vedic society spread in the northern parts of India from about 1500 BCE to 500 BCE. The religious beliefs were becoming too complex and the society was getting divided. Battles for greed of land, property, and power were on the rise. Many people were losing their limb or life. This was the time when new ideas about religion and social life, harmony and peace, non-violence and self-actualization emerged. In this chapter, we shall study about Upanishads and two new religions, Buddhism and Jainism, which came about and spread an alternate course to life and religion. Last class, we had studied about Brahmins and about class discrimination. In that time, these Brahmins exploited others. They were having very important position in the society. In educational field, religious matters and other fields, they were dominating. Without them, it was impossible for others to complete religious ceremonies. Only they were knowing the language Sanskrit. So according to their interest, they interpreted the religious texts. Also, they charged heavily for their service and also compelled others to do expensive and solemn rituals and ceremonies. Most of the people were helpless to do all these things. Slowly, others were irritated by all these matters, and in their society, new religious thoughts started. Another reason was there were many battles. Many people died in these battles, and many became disabled. So they were not happy to live in that situation, and they were searching something new. In that situation, some new religions came into existence. Children, now we will study about Upanishads. It's a Sanskrit word. Children, do you know the meaning of this word? Yes, Upanishads means sitting near or sitting close. In olden times, there were no schools. So those who wanted to get knowledge, they would go to the learned person. These gurus will be in ashram, that would be in a lonely place or in a forest. Historians believe that these Upanishads were written by many people over a long period of time. They believe that it was written in the later Vedic period or around 800 to 400 BCE. Many persons' thoughts and teachings had been added, but it is not different. Continuity is there in this Upanishads. Historians, sociologists and philosophers believe that some Upanishads are important. Some Upanishads are important. Total 108 Upanishads are there. In that, 7 Upanishads are very important and 5 Upanishads have some relevance. Relevant means connected or related. So relevance means the relation of something to the matter. What is the main teachings in this Upanishads, children? Yes, our life and death. Life and death are just two phases of a cycle. End of our life, we will die. It is written in these Upanishads. Again, humans are rebirth, and this is depend on our deeds in our life. If we do good things, then our Atma or soul gets salvation and there won't be any rebirth. If we do bad things, then there will be rebirth. It's also written our soul is attached with the power of the universe. Beginning, you had already learned that in their society people were angry against the Brahmins and the kings and they started new religions. Now we will study about two new religions, Jainism and Buddhism. Children, who is the founder of the Jain religion? Yes, Lord Mahavira. It is believed that 3000 BCE this philosophy of Jainism started. Reference we could find it in Vedas also. Their gurus, that means Jainists, their gurus are known as Tirthankaras. This idea or philosophy started very early, but 24th Tirthankara, that is Lord Mahavira, only systematically formed this religion. Children, now we will know more about Lord Mahavira. He was born in 599 BCE. Do you know the place? Yeah, at Kshatriyakund, and it was the part of the Vaishali Mahajanapada. He was a prince, son of King Siddhartha and Queen Trishala. King and queen were very religious people, so they brought him in that way. They named him Vardhaman. They were the followers of Lord Parshvanath. Children, how did he get the name Mahavira? Yes, when he was young, he was a very courageous boy. One day, while he was playing with his friend, he saved his friend from a snake. From that time onwards, he was known as Mahavira. His courage and fearlessness gave him that name. He was a prince so that he could live a luxurious life, but he led a simple life. He didn't like this material world and all the worldly pleasures. He quit everything and started to live like a monk. He left his parents' palace, positions, wealth, etc. and went out in search of enlightenment. What is this word enlightenment meaning? A term used to convey that the individual gains true vision and divine wisdom. That only enlightenment. After a long meditation and prayer, he started to preach eternal truth of spiritual freedom to all the people who are poor, rich, touchable, untouchable, men, women, etc. He traveled everywhere, didn't mind any difficulties or hardships, but he was having only one intention, that to preach the truth. Slowly people followed him as disciples, and they first orally preserved his teachings like songs. It was known as Gandharas. Later they wrote and preserved it in palm leaves. That means his disciples, they wrote and kept. Children, now we will study his main teachings. He preached about, what is that? Right faith, right knowledge, right conduct, and in this right conduct he focused on non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, and non-possession or non-attachment. These are his philosophy's teachings. Here you can see Jain emblem and the 5 vows that is written on it. In his teachings, the main point was about moksha only, moksha. Main point it was moksha. How people could attain moksha? Can you say, children? Yeah, without doing any harm to all the living beings. What is moksha? To achieve freedom from the cycle of birth and rebirth. Earlier we had studied if one person after death did not achieve moksha, his soul will reborn. Again that person must live in this world. He taught them that all are equal in spiritual matter, so they must avoid these worldly pleasures and work for their moksha. He preached for all the people including the poor people, so he gave sermon in Prakritic language. This language was understood by common people. So they can understand, common people also can understand his teaching. Beginning, many accepted this religion and they were living according to his teachings. But after his death, next leaders made it more strict. But the later generation was not ready to renounce the worldly affairs and lead a spiritual life. Then slowly this religion started to decline. Now children, we will study about the next religion, that is Buddhism. When it started around 2500 years ago. Who founded this religion? Do you know? Yes, Gautam Buddha. Now we will learn more about Gautam Buddha. He was a prince. He was born at Lumbini, that was in present Nepal. In which year he was born, children? 583 BCE. He was the son of King Sudhodana and Queen Maya. Name of his clan was Shakya. When he was young, his mother died. In that time, a holy man came there and prophesied that in future this prince either he would become a great king or a great spiritual leader. But his father's desire was he must become a great king, not a great spiritual leader. So he gave everything to his son. Luxurious life he had given to his son. Always he was inside the palace. He didn't see any suffering or difficulties. Everywhere he saw joy, peace and great luxury. King gave him a girl as his wife. Her name was Yashodhara. She gave him a son and they named him Rahul. Their life was full of happy. One day he saw the 4 passing sights. What is it? I will tell you what happened to him. When he was 29 years old, he had a great curiosity. What is that? He wanted to see outside the world, outside world. Without telling to his father, he told to a charioteer to take him a ride. When he came out of the palace, he was shocked by seeing the world outside. First time he was seeing. On the way, he saw an aged man, a sick man, then a dead body, and last he met a wandering saint. These are the 4 passing sights. The sight of old age, disease, and death touched him deeply. He understood about his life. The charioteer explained him about this wandering saint. The saint left everything to get relief from fear and suffering and to get moksha. Later that evening he came back to the palace as a changed man. One strong decision was in his mind. One night he left everything behind him and went outside the palace like a beggar to get enlightenment. Children, see what a change. He met many knowledgeable teachers to learn and to ask his questions. He was having many questions. They taught him many religious philosophies, then how to pray and how to meditate. Then also he was not satisfied. He didn't get any answer about life and its meaning. By the time he got 5 disciples, so they together decided to go and search it by themselves. Through fasting, prayer and meditation, they didn't get the answer. Then he remembered his childhood experience. Through discipline of mind, he had experienced peace and calmness. He understood that instead of starvation, he has to eat. When he drank a little rice milk, his disciples thought that he had accepted worldly pleasures and they left him. Then he went alone. Last he reached Gaya and sat under a peepal tree. There he started a deep meditation. From there only he attained enlightenment and got the name Buddha. Buddha means the learned one. The tree under it Buddha sat, now known as the Bodhi tree. Children, here you can see that peepal tree where he sat. Under this tree only he sat. That is a Bodhi tree. After attaining enlightenment, he was not ready to preach. He went to Sarnath. Now this place is in UP, where he found his companions. To them he preached. He showed a path of practice to the people. Next, he believed through that people could realize enlightenment. He dedicated his life for teaching. Later he was reconciled with his father, King Sudhodana. His wife and son became his followers. Children, here you could see a very big statue of Lord Buddha. Children, next we will study his teachings. His main teaching was about human pain. He taught that sufferings and pain are part of life and existence. We are suffering because of our greed and lust. So, how can we reduce our sufferings, children? For this, he had given a noble eightfold path. Here are the eightfold path: right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. These are the eight noble eightfold path. He didn't believe in caste system, idol worship, and the rituals of yajna. He also believed that any teachings that would be accepted by others when it was born out of that person's experience and accepted by wise people, then only people will accept that one. Otherwise, people won't accept it. He strongly believed that all human beings are equal. Everybody have their own dignity and others must accept it. All human beings must show love and kindness towards other people, including animals. We should satisfy with what we have and should not be greedy. We have to lead a good life because according that we will get a reward from God after our death. These are his teachings. Here you can see Buddha's Sanchi Stupa. Sanchi Stupa. His disciples wrote his teachings in Pali language. This collection of his teachings are called Tripitakas. That only is book. Children, now we are going to end of this lesson. The last part is where this religion spread and why. His teachings emphasize the truth of life and spiritual development. So many were attracted by his teachings and became followers. So today Buddhism is one of the major religions of the countries of Central Asia, Sri Lanka, Tibet, China, Korea, Japan and South Asia. Children, our lesson is over. Read this lesson and complete the notes. Okay, have a nice day. Thank you, children.